enter in these more political things that we have to deal with on a daily basis is a little bit important. But on the films, I would like to congratulate you. It's absolutely delicate the way in which you depict the situation, not doing a lot of fuss, not doing big words, not doing big narratives, not always explaining things. Everything is perfectly explained with these little details, with the telephones, with the doubts, every of the cases, and how the relations among women, the relation on couples, dealing with these pregnancies, and I think this is an excellent state of art or of cinema. And for this reason, I would like to congratulate you, because it's more powerful than most of the documentaries we have seen. And even because explaining how was the life of these women around 5 years ago, we can measure the thing we lost in a way that is unexpected. Because if we, probably the first people attending a venue before the falling of the country could feel the sensation there is a lot of things to do in Afghanistan. And the impression of the struggle of women is in a very dire conditions, but after what happened, this film is for me a kind of ray of hope that things were in a way that there was some progress. Of course, there's a lot of problems and abortion and that kind of things, but this is the depiction of a country struggling for living in a different way, and represented by these 3 women. And for me, is if we have to compare on what's happening currently in the countries, it's very sad, because we have at least a glance of the hopes of these women, and probably representing the hopes of the whole country to come back to normality. And now we are dealing with what Meta described. I'm going to enter slightly in this political aspect of the issue. For me, the question, I'm going to be very, very, very brief. The question is to maintain the issue in the international agenda. Not easy, because there is a lot of crises elsewhere. And one crisis after another, and at the end, it's hard to maintain things in the political agenda or in the media agenda. And for this reason, this week or these days of Afghan women are important. I noticed in the BBC or in Euronews has been a short docu on what's happening in Parliament. This is good for us, for the Parliament, because this is a way to maintain the issue in the political agenda. The other thing is to try to help the people and the women who has been exiled. Of course, Sarah is attending a lot of festivals, but there are other women who simply leave the country in very bad conditions, and we have to take care of the women we encourage to resist during this hopeful 20 years, but they need more than ever our support. Now in Portugal, in Poland, in Germany, in Ireland, in Spain. And we have to take care of the women that finally reach an exile that could be very, very harsh. The other one is to try to have an eye on the ground, as Meta said. The problem is we don't know what is happening in the rural areas of Afghanistan. Of course, the international agencies, they have some idea or some information about the big cities, but we don't really know what is happening in the rural areas. Even in some rural areas, we have been told by United Nations agencies, there are provinces in which the governor or the lords or the people ruling this small rural spaces, they are authorizing girls to attend schools. And this is not a rule. This is not, let's say, the national or the state norm. And even we have been told, let's be careful not to point these places because the consequence of this, they are going to be subject to the central power and to abandon this place. But the question is how to have an eye on the ground. The NGOs are working hardly. The international agencies, it's not easy to enroll, for example, women to work in this environment. We have to have a glance of what is happening. In that situation, social media, citizen journalism, information by any means, the horrified mood in which Meta looks at WhatsApp, because she knows in the WhatsApp there are a lot of bad news coming, but this is a way to have a look on what is happening in the country. And this is a key factor to try to push the political authorities to help the country with humanitarian help if finally the economic situation on the famine start, but to be very careful, not legitimizing in any way the regime of Assad. I think Borrell expressed very clear some months ago. There is no condition to send humanitarian help or humanitarian funds, but if we are engaged in any kind of development help, this is condition to some progress in the field of human rights, especially women's human rights. Thank you. Thanks a lot, Sarah. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed your work as an event. Congratulations for your film and especially for your speech.
Thank you very much.
And thank you, Natasha. That were really good points, which I think summarise some of the political messages of what we need to do next. So, I mean, I know we're pushed for time. Is there anybody, it's not often we have a director of Sarah's calibre here to have the woman who made it all happen. If there is a little question or anything people would like to ask her, Nick.
Just one very short point. I thought the film was wonderful. It was so good. I loved it. And the women, you should teach the women to use the silent button on the phones.
A good message. Was there a fella at the back as well? Did you want to? We've only 5 minutes left, and I want Sarah to come back in. So, yeah, make it quick.
My name is Khali. I am from Pakistan, television and newspaper reporter. Have been reporting Afghanistan for the last 37 years, so I have seen all of Afghanistan, last 40 years, let's say. My question directed to Ms. Karimi. Can she a little bit enlighten us regarding the rule of Najibullah Karmal and Nur Muhammad Karakai till 87, and the present last 20 years, who really paid more attention to culture? Thank you.
She'll struggle to do that now in the 2 minutes left.
Thank you very much. I cannot tell the rule of Najibullah because and all those people because I was born in 85. I was 2 years old. So, but about culture in general, if I tell this, people of Afghanistan will somehow kill me. But the only person in political, it was Khali, our ex-president, who wanted so much to support culture. I'm so sorry.
It's very funny. That's very funny.
It is. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, that's very funny.
No, it is funny because I cannot because I saw it from very artistic perspective, not political perspective.
When he was trying to destroy the culture, either the language of Afghanistan.
Culture is culture. Let's talk about culture because because we don't see the culture from very single perspective. Culture is of heritage, culture is cinema, culture is many other things, you know. Culture is publishing of books, publishing of like many researching resources, but I say it with full of fear because I know that there will be a big tag on me that because she was working with government, so she's the same. But from very cultural perspective and very artistic perspective and from very artistic understanding, I say this. But in general, I am not going to talk about the politics.
Yeah, look, and we certainly aren't. Like this is our cultural event, and Sarah's work stands for itself. And I think I speak for all of us in saying we were shocked. I know when we were in the Irish Parliament, myself and Nick, we used to sometimes hear the testimony of women, which would actually bring you to tears. And I think this film does that. It also gives us an insight into life and the streets of Kabul. And I think that was really refreshing as well. So you made the point, Sarah, that you've lost because of a suppression of culture. I would say that the Afghanistan people have not lost precisely because of your culture and precisely because of work that you've done, that other people have done, and that the women of Afghanistan who are there now, because I think that Mariam in the film made the point that, you know, do I just have to bear it? Actually, sometimes surviving is resistance itself, and the fact that Afghanistan women have stood the test and produced work like this and have carried on means that no regime will ever withstand that power and energy. So please, thank you so much for being here tonight, for your work, and we really look forward to exchange of dialogue in the coming days. Thanks also to Nacho and to Metra as well. It was a really wonderful evening, and thank you all so much.